Good evening and welcome to Estuary TV News with me, Erica Barker. On tonight's show, the second half of my interview with Grimsby-born composer Patrick Hawes as his latest album tops the charts, and Richard York has the latest sports news. But first, here's James Dunn with the news headlines.
Hello, in the headlines today, Dong Energy sell off half of the westernmost Rough Wind Farm project, and Grimsby Institute launches a new course that it hopes will make Grimsby a hub for international study. Dong Energy has sold 50% of their westernmost Rough Wind Farm for £240 million. Marubeni Corporation and UK Green Investment Bank will each get 25% of the project and will invest a total of £500 million in the construction phase. Work on the 35 turbines off the Yorkshire coast has already begun and is due to be fully commissioned by June next year. Samuel Leopold, Executive Vice President at Dong, said the agreement allows them to share the risk in the construction phase and lock in significant value creation. Hundreds of people have now signed a petition to save youth centres in North East Lincolnshire after the council announced it would pull out of universal provision. The council needs to cut £920,000 from the youth services budget, but their announcement caused controversy in the community. Cleethorpes MP Martin Vickers raised a petition to save the youth centres, but the council's portfolio holder said it is not their intention to close them. Councillor Ian Lindley hopes that in consultation they will find ways to work with the community to keep them open.
I think at no time have we ever said that we are going to close our youth centres. We want to see those youth centres remain open, and we want to see them delivering good quality youth provision to our young people in North East Lincolnshire. Now obviously the public see that as coming under threat now as a response to the £920,000 worth of savings that we have to make this year. I'm confident that we'll be able to deliver those savings, but also be able to also deliver a good quality youth provision within our youth centres.
3 months after the Humber floods, tenants are starting to move back into their homes in South Ferriby. Staff from North Lincolnshire Homes provided temporary accommodation, but using a fast drying method, they've been able to get properties ready quicker than anticipated. Mrs Mavis Haywood was one of the first to return home.
I lost everything. The only thing relating to furniture was my television that I saved. There was absolutely nothing. And impact, well, I don't really know where to start. I mean, it's not just me. I mean, a lot of the people down here are worse than I was. It's been dreadful. North Links Homes have been absolutely brilliant. And even though I think it's been a bit rushed to get us back in, I can understand why they want to do it, but just hoping that the damp don't keep reoccurring.
The remaining properties on here will be ready in the next couple of weeks. So I think out of all the people that were affected, half have actually decided to move back into their homes. The other half have decided to stay in the accommodation that we'd moved them into. For various reasons, it may be that's now more suitable for their, at their time in life to actually move to that accommodation. And as people are coming back in, then obviously we've already let the properties that are now ready, so people will start to come back in.
A man in his 20s is in hospital after being assaulted in his own home on Cooper Lane in Laceby. Police were called at around 3:30 AM yesterday after 3 men entered the property, occupied by another man, also in his 20s. The occupant was assaulted and taken to hospital, where he remains, but police say the extent of his injuries are as yet unknown. After a 2-hour search, 2 20-year-old men and a 21-year-old were arrested on the Nunsthorpe and a vehicle seized. The men remain in custody. Grimsby Institute is launching the UK's first degree in ufology, the study of unidentified flying objects following a high number of sightings in the area. The college hopes the course which starts in September, will make Grimsby a hub of international study in the subject. There are only 2 other universities in Europe offering the course, which will be taught by Bobby Earl McCracken, founder of examining body, the American Life Institute of Extraterrestrial and Neuroscience.
Well, I think it's really important to point out that it's not about little green men. Increasingly over the past few years, we have seen a greater number of UFO sightings, and including debris in our region. And that has led to us being contacted by numerous individuals from across the globe who are seeking to study and find out more about UFOs. This is an area that we've been seeking to break into for a while, and we hope that with the introduction of this qualification, people can understand how serious we are about this and how we really do hope to find life on other planets.
That's all from me. I'll see you next time.
Well, composer Patrick Hawes may be used to the bright lights of fame, but hailing from Grimsby, he remains down to earth and gracious, even though his album Angel is now in the top 5 of the classical charts. I caught up with him. If I could just come on to the Angel now then, massive success, isn't it? Fantastic news.
Yeah, this is my latest album, and I started to write it about 18 months ago. And was absolutely thrilled when Decca decided to release it, because they are the biggest record label in the world, and it means my music can reach around the world now as well, and they have a big PR machine, and it was so wonderful. We recorded it with the choir of New College, Oxford, who've got the boy at trebles, because it was an Angel album. I wanted this kind of angelic sound, the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra. And then we found this fantastic soprano called Grace Davidson, who's not that well known, but becoming very well known. And she's got this voice that almost sounds like a boy's voice, it's so sort of pure and ethereal. And yeah, we're absolutely thrilled. The album was just released a couple of weeks ago and went straight into the charts at number 2. So we're praying like mad it'll go that one little bit further.
I'm sure it will do, I'm sure it will do. I mean, I've listened to it, it's absolutely amazing.
Oh,
Can you tell me a little bit about the story, the story behind it? Because there's a lot of kind of history, isn't
Well,
there?
there is, yeah. There are 3 things really. One is I became very aware that a lot of people think they have a guardian angel. Do you know it's something like 50% of people in this country believe they have a guardian angel?
Really? I never knew that.
So I knew it would have an interest to a lot of people. Then there was a story of the Angel of Mons, where in the year 2014, which is the centenary of the outbreak of the First World War, in the very first battle of the First World War between the Germans and the English, the British, in Belgium, on August the 23rd, 1914, over 100 British soldiers claimed they saw a vision of an angel directing them away from danger to safety. And I just think that's the most amazing story. And in a period which is so full of darkness and despair, I think it gives this little bit of hope. So one of the tracks on the album is about that. And the other thing is, my father once saw angels. Yeah, and actually there are 3 YouTube clips which you can put in Hawes Angels, and one of them we went over to Mons, to the place where the apparition of the Angel of Mons took place. But there's also a YouTube clip of me going to the spot where my father saw angels, which is just outside the south entrance to my brother's church near Bourne in Lincolnshire. So all these things kind of came together and influenced the Angel album. And then when I was writing it, I really felt the presence of angels. I know that sounds weird. I can't actually say I've seen one, but I saw lots of colours and lights, and I was waking up in the night. For instance, once I was writing about the Archangel Raphael, who's the angel of healing, and I was seeing all these purples and deep reds. And then I discovered from people who are involved in healing and Reiki and this sort of thing, that these are the colours of healing, especially deep purple.
And this may sound silly, but what influence did that have on your music? If somebody has an association with the colour of red, does that have any effect on what keys you use?
Exactly. Very good question, Emma. People often say, well, why is this piece of music in G major? Why can't it all be in C major with no sharps or flats? It's partly to do with the range, because you might write a melody which goes out of the range of a singer's voice, but it's all to do with colour. And for me, it's getting a bit technical now, but D flat major, the flat keys are deep colours.
And what is it about the soprano voice that makes it very special?
Well, I think if you think of an angel and you think of music associated with angels, I think most people would think of a high voice rather than a low one. And I love writing high notes. On the album, there's some really pure high notes, top A, top B flat. And I do think these sort of almost help you to reach upwards. They take you upwards into heavenly realms.
And is that where the spirituality comes from as well, that that's important to your writing?
Yeah, it's interesting this, isn't it? We were brought up in a pub and my mum and dad used to say, I don't know, that we thought they were going to take over the pub and one's a vicar and one's playing the organ, which is quite interesting. But I don't know, we were just given a kind of gift of faith at an early age. We both sang in the church choir in Chapel St Leonard's near Skegness, and we both wanted to carry it on, really. And then we went away, both of us went away, this is my brother and myself, went away to school in Market Rasen, which isn't that far from here, at the Aston School, and we were boarders. And on a Sunday we had to go to church, and everybody hated it apart from me and my brother. For some reason we actually quite look forward to it. Strange, isn't it?
And the relationship that you have with your brother, I know that you've worked with him a lot, haven't you? And he's been a big influence on you.
Well, he's written a lot of the words for Angel. And I think it is unique. Yeah, I just know what he's trying to say, and he knows exactly what sort of music I'm going to write to his words. I mean, it's really special, I think.
Yeah, it must be incredible to have that bond with somebody that understands what you're trying to
you
achieve.
ought to get us both on here to talk, because because he's got this as well.
Would you be finishing each of the sentences?
Yeah, we'd be finishing each of the sentences. Yeah, we've both got the gift of the gab, as they say in Grimsby.
So if we come on to the next part then, what do you see in the future? What do you see happening?
Well, I'm also writing a piece of music about Edith Cavell, who she's probably known to a lot of the viewers because there's a campaign at the moment to get her onto the £2 coin, and she's the nurse who was executed in the First World War. But for the moment, it's Angel that is, it took so long to write, and it's just been released, and I'd love to see it do well and for as many people as possible to hear about it. We're actually going to premiere all the pieces at a concert in St John's Smith Square in London on June the 9th. And we've got all the performers from the album who are coming in, the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra, the Choir of New College, Oxford, and the solo singers. And so we're hoping that's going to be quite a big occasion and maybe take the album further. We've also had lots of emails from people who are saying that they're feeling this kind of healing effect from the music, and it's making them feel calm and a kind of a spiritual connection with.
Yeah, I've had it on in the office, and
yeah,
I was very calm.
I hope it didn't send you to sleep, Emma.
The office can be very hectic, but I was very calm at the end listening to it. But you know what? It's been an absolute pleasure to speak with you, and not that you'll need it, but best of luck with everything.
Oh, thank you, Emma. Thank you.
Thank you. A real inspiration. Now here's Richard York with the sports news.
Thank you, Erica. Now here's the sport news. Hull City were beaten 1-0 at Stoke. The Tigers now have one more game at home to Swansea before their big day out at Wembley in the FA Cup semi-final against Sheffield United. Scunthorpe United have beaten a 125-year-old record of unbeaten games after drawing 0-0 to Wycombe. The Iron are now 24 games unbeaten, breaking the record set by Preston North End. Grimsby Town claimed a 1-0 victory over Hereford thanks to a goal from Alex Rodman. If the Mariners beat Wrexham tonight, they'll go up to third place in the table. Lincoln drew 0-0 at Tamworth as the Imps look for a comfortable mid-table finish. And North Ferriby returned to the summit of the Conference North table after goals from Nathan Jarman and Anthony Wilson saw them beat Stelbridge Celtic 2-0. Cleethorpes Town remained top of the Tull Station Northern Counties East League despite conceding a late equaliser at Shorelane Aquaforce. Grimsby Borough beat Louth 3-2 thanks to a hat-trick from Luke Fanthorpe. And in the Evo Stick Northern Counties East League Division 1, Brigtown staged a fantastic comeback after conceding 3 goals to Newcastle Town. They ended the match in a 3-3 draw with only 7 minutes left on the clock. Meanwhile, Goole lost 1-0 at home to Sutton Coldfield Town. In rugby, Midlands 1, Market Rasen and Louth beat Ilkeston 47 points to 18. That was the sport news, and now back to you, Erica.
Thanks, Richard. Well, I'm afraid that's all we've got time for today. Thank you for watching. Until next time, goodbye.